Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the vineyard. I'm Matt.
I'm Ron. Matt's dad. Say anything this time.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back.
This is Ron.
And I'm Matt, I guess. All right, well, glad we established this. All right, we're up in the vineyard, and today is May 14th. And we're out here doing a vineyard update for everybody.
And the year's 2024. Anyway, we're looking at our St. Croix and Frontenac right now. This is our St. Croix. This is a new vine we brought up this year. We left just so many buds on it, and you see the new growth coming out. These are getting close to, probably by next week sometime, they're going to be blooming. This is a new clusters will be for next year. These others, we've cut them back as far as we could this year. Most of them we tried to cut back to like 2 buds in most cases. I guess about 3 on that one. But the St. Croix, they're looking nice on what we left. Some pretty old trunks. These were planted in 2002, I believe. So they're all right, 22 years old. I said, had them in there long. But some of them we thought we were gonna have to cut off again, but we just kind of keep pruning them back because we were letting them get a little scraggly up in here. So we've tended to try and bring them back to the main cordon this last couple years. But it looks like we're gonna have a pretty decent crop on these. Next row over here is our Frontenac. There's a few of these. They're starting to come up real good. This particular one's really taking off.
It's like the one and only.
They'll even up here eventually. But I did first spray on them last week. I'll have to spray them again and try to get it done this week if I get a chance.
Sprayed for
fungicide.
Yeah.
But this is a fairly old. These are older wines too. These are also planted in 2002. This particular one is heading over to replace the trunk that's down there until a new one gets established. We've got some new growths coming up out of the system, so we'll get them trained up this year up to the trunk, and then eventually fill that part in with that plant again.
And then we'll be able to cut this one back.
We'll start cutting this one back as this one gets up and starts developing this way. We'll start cutting back on this one. Or if this doesn't turn out well, we'll just try to keep the 2 vines coming together. It looks pretty healthy. I mean, I've got one St. Croix vine up at the other end of the row. It's got about 20 feet of cane from one plant. That sounds fairly decent. Don't like to do that, but when you lose the old vines, why you try to fill in. But these are coming back pretty good. We were kind of late getting these short pruned this year. I mean, see, we brought everything back down to the main cordon the last couple of years. So we're trying to get everything coming up out of this trunk here, main trunk.
Which I think we're having pretty good success so far.
Yeah, this one we're trying to train a new one up through here too. So this one gets going good, but the old trunk still looks pretty good. So I may take this out next year. I started with this one just to fill in for this one, but the old trunk, but it's looking like the old trunk may fill in good enough again. Kind of wondered on some of them, but they're doing pretty decent. There's another one here that's some of the earlier ones that took off. It's got some nice clusters on it this year. And these are the ones I'm going to hit with boron this year when they start blooming. A couple of different times maybe, because we're getting a lot of shot berries the last couple of years on some of the plants where the berries didn't get very big. Plant right next to them looked perfect, so they were lacking something. And it was either a lack of boron or a cold weather in the spring, from my research I've done on it. So we're gonna try to hit them with boron this year, see if that helps.
And when we've been trying to cut all these back to the main cordon, I guess, right? It definitely took more than 1 year of trying to do that, because you can't just cut everything back that first year, because this is our second year on it, right?
Yeah.
So we've been slowly trying to get it to come back to the main, which we're starting to get there. So that's been pretty good to see. We're excited to kind of get them back to being a normal trunk, and some varieties take longer than the others, just because of the way they've been growing.
And if we had the time, this is the time to take these suckers all off.
Oh,
so you can just rip them off. Because you wait too long, then they get
hard.
You got to cut them off.
Yeah.
But they're tender enough right now. You can just rip them off, not hurt anything.
So in Dad's free time, he's going to be going through and getting those all cleaned up. So.
Free time? What's that?
So, well, that'll do it for these 2 rows. We'll probably go over, check out a couple more varieties to show you guys kind of how they're growing, and then we'll do an update on the plants that we got growing in the growing pots, tubes, whatever you want to call them, flats, growing flats. So we'll go check over some other varieties, and we'll meet you over there. All right, we are in the further west part of our vineyard.
Yeah,
once again, sorry. Well, I guess what am I saying? Sorry,
yeah, they didn't see your mistakes.
Anyways, we recorded a decent amount. Anyway, so we're in the Brianna and the Petite Pearl.
Yeah.
And Dad's going to talk about them again.
Can't remember what I said last time.
Well, that's good. First time.
All right. Anyway, we've got a prune back pretty good this year, and they're budding pretty heavily. Hopefully, I would guess within another week to 10 days will be a cap fall where they're blooming. The little caps will fall off and the flower will show up on the plants. Anyway, I've got most of them. We've cut them all back to about 2 buds per spur, as you can see here. 2 of them come out. We left 2 up here, but this one didn't come out, but it did send 1 at the base and 1 down here as well.
Which is really what we're wanting.
Yeah, I want to get it back down as close as we can. Here's another one with a double. This one and this one. So next year, cut this one off, and then this will be the spur next year. And yeah, but anyone like this one that came out down below, this will be what we save next year. This will all come off. This will come off, and if this does well, then this will come out too. And just this will be our spur next year. We'll work with. Leave a couple buds on it. Deep Pearl. Most of these I got cut back to 2 buds as well. 1, 2 on there. Some of them. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. Yeah, there's several of them coming out of that one. Probably should do some cluster thinning on that, like pull that one off, get rid of it, work with this one. But I usually don't seem to have time doing cluster thinning like person needs to do that. Here's one that worked real well. Get this off. This is the spur here. Got one came out down below. This will be the new one next year. Then this will all come off next year. That was growing quite well. That's all I got for that.
All right. Well, we will go. Well, we'll just walk over to the Frontenac Blanc.
Anyway, this is the Frontenac Blanc. They were trying to get trained back to the main cordon. I got everything shortened up. Got there. Hopefully this, I don't know if this is big enough to come out this year or not. Got a couple of them here coming out. This I'm going to take off because it's going down. This one, hopefully this one gets big enough this year that I can go ahead and take this off next year. Then we get everything back to the main cordon. Like here, this one, there wasn't much of this. The diameter on this spur was real small, so I cut it clear back so it forced it to come out of the trunk next to the cordon, and that's what it did on that one. So hopefully this one does well this year. So this will be my spur for next year. But they're coming along nicely. They probably should be doing some cluster thinning on this too, but I left 2 spurs here. This one, well, it's like something ate that one off, or broke off anyway in the wind. Anyway,
don't you ever eat at the house?
That's funny. Anyway, this will probably come off next year. This one will. I know whether I keep this one or this one depends on how well they do this year. Same way here. I'm getting a lot of new growth coming out of the main cordon. So hopefully I got some nice spurs to work with next winter, or next spring. That's all I have to say for that one.
All right, so then we're gonna go over to the new part of the vineyard and we'll talk about those ones.
You want me to start? You start this time. Oh, I'll start. Anyway, we're in our Itasca. This will be the first year we have any production off of them. Last year we thought we would, but they didn't materialize. But they're looking really good this year. We've got them all pruned back nicely. Need to take off some of these suckers that are popping up. They're a lot easier to take off right now. Yep. Versus later. And my cameraman's laughing at me. Anyway.
You already said that.
Yeah. This is one of them that last year, I don't know if the cameraman showed you videos of them last year.
I don't know if we did or not.
Anyway, some of these Itasca sent out a whole bunch of roots along the main trunk, even up in here. Well, of course, they must have been damaged down at the, my guess is that they were damaged down at the root area, right at the ground, because these kind of laid over and we pulled them back up early on, so I think they were damaged somewhat down there. I thought I was going to lose the whole plant, but you can see there's new growth coming up, so this is what we'll train up to start them all over. We'll get rid of this old trunk, cut it off down here. But I was hoping that the plant didn't die. Some of them I think might have. There's one across the way that looks kind of weak up above, but it's sending out a lot of new growth down below. Some of them may have died. I don't see anything coming up out of that particular one yet, but the one over here, there's some new suckers coming up out of the ground on it. This other one over here looks pretty weak, but there's another one coming up. One coming up. It's not so there's something wrong with the ground on that one, because the new ones coming up are dying too. Or maybe this the wind broke them off.
Yeah, I think
could have been. The wind snapped them off, possibly down below. We'll see if these others materialize. They're starting to come up. And it is sending one shoot here.
It's not.
But you see there's still the roots.
That's not doing it very often either.
What?
Most of them are, looking at most of them, they're dead up top, not doing this. Not sending new stuff up here.
Well, yeah. There aren't very many of them like that. I'm hoping, and maybe some of them have died completely. Maybe just a couple of them are going to come up because I'm not seeing any. Well, there's new growth starting to come up out of the ground on that one.
You can see it right there.
Don't see anything on that one. Anything yet on this one. But we got to cut. We're starting a bunch of cuttings that we can go ahead and replace these if nothing does eventually come out of them. But for the most part, they are looking pretty good. Should have a nice crop on these this year. Got to get through and get the cordons all tied back up. Oh, there's the clamps there. I can use that. Tie. So I need to go through and get these all tied up again.
And it won't be long and we'll be starting to tuck vines too. So once they get to a certain height, we'll be tucking these up. So then that way they're growing vertically versus growing out this way. You don't want them growing out this way because they just get in the way of everything, and you want to make sure that you get, when they start putting fruit on, you want to make sure that the fruit is getting air movement to it versus branching out.
And this is what Matthew can do when he gets off of work.
Well, that's what Ron does in his free time. Ooh. All right, well, that's it for these ones. We'll go over and check out Petite Pearl, right?
Yep.
And Brianna, right? Yeah. Yeah. All right, you're on, Ron. So now we are in the Petite Pearl and the Briannas over there.
Second year of production for these. We didn't get too much off of them last year.
They looked nice though last year.
Yeah. These are the ones we planted in 2019 when it was so wet. A lot of those got planted, I think it was end of July. I mean, not end of June that year because it was so wet. So they had kind of a rough going. They should have been in production a couple years ago, but the first 2 years they didn't have a troll system in here. And yeah, it was kind of a mess. Well, we got them going now.
That's all that matters too, right?
Petite Pearl looks pretty decent. That's what's here, and then off this side, that's the Brianna. This will be the first year of production off of those. What? Yeah, I'm trying to talk into
Make sure you're talking into this, because when you walk away and talk,
okay,
you can't hear you.
Anyway, this is Brianna again. This will be the first year of production on these.
Because we pulled the fruit off of them last year, right?
Not the year before.
Year before, that's right.
Yeah. Year before we took all the fruit off to try to put the growth into the plant itself.
But yeah, everything's looking really good so far this year. Knock on wood. Yeah, that's just a little bit of an update. Like Dad said, we've done one round of fungicide, and right this next week.
Yeah, I need to be getting through before too long with a burn down to get rid of the grasses that are starting to come up underneath the vines.
Yep, keep those down.
So I gotta make sure that any of them that have some new growth coming up or the top die, to get them covered up first before I spray it.
So okay, so that's gonna do it up here in the vineyard for the vineyard update. We're gonna go back down to the house, and I think we're gonna go talk about the
Cuttings.
Jeez, we're gonna go talk about the cuttings, and yeah, we've been getting quite a bit of rain here lately. We had 1.40 in town. Dad had 230 out here, so some nice rains. Yeah, I guess that's all I got to say on that. So we'll go back down to the house and we'll see you down there. All right, we are down here at the house, and so we are starting to get some good growth on some of the varieties that we have down here. Especially the weeds are coming up pretty good in some of these. But yeah, so just a little update on how things are starting to grow down here. And we'll keep moving over. Some of our varieties are not doing so hot, so it'll be interesting to see how those end up turning out, if we're going to get much of anything to come out of them or not. Like all these ones aren't really showing a whole lot, but we're pretty sure that it might be the variety. It's just not taking off, and it's still kind of early for it too, so it maybe we're just a little early on them. But some of them, we've seen a couple where the growth on them has died back. But yeah, Dad's going through just plucking out some of the bigger weeds. So yeah, it takes a little while for these to start coming out, but definitely are starting to come out. So that's all we got for today. So oh yeah, we gotta thank our sponsor for today's video. Ron, you want to hit him up?
Whiskey Run Creek.
Gotta give him
Winery and Distillery. Yeah, we thank you.
Thank you for sponsoring today's video and all the videos in the past. Yeah, we're very thankful for those guys. Our
really
patch where our corn patch up there, we're gonna have to get that disked up here, probably, hopefully with this year, if it ever dries out. Get that disked up, and then get some corn planted in that, and got everything kind of set up in the machine shed for showing the corn. So hopefully one of these years we get a chance to work on that too. But we'll take it a day at a time, right, Dad?
Right.
So, all right, well, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.